Hey everyone, it's Edward, and in today's video I wanted to show everybody how I support my indoor plants, specifically tomatoes, growing in hydroponics. And I'll show you a close-up of them and the exact items that I use to support our plants. So let's take a closer look right now at our tomato plants and how they're supported. And this is two amazing tomato plants that are just over 7 months old. They just won't stop growing. They're indeterminate beefsteak tomato plants, and they're just beautiful and producing. And I have to do a harvest on them, which is gonna be in one of our shorts. So let's take a closer look so I can show you how to support your plants growing indoors or outdoors, I suppose, in hydroponics. I'm going to show you how thick and how big the actual vine is. Like this has become, it's about 3/4 to an inch thick, and it just keeps growing. Beautiful, strong. So here is the support system right here. I use Mason's line string and I use tomato clips. And let's take a look at, what's going on here. So we have a lot of tomatoes that I have to harvest today. I've trimmed them out. I need to trim them out, take off some of the drier leaves and stuff like that, which is normal with growing indoors, especially with turning on the furnace right now. Everything's drying up a little bit quicker, so the humidity is a little low because the heat's a little high and I don't have a humidifier, so a little bit of trimming going on. But take a look. I suspended the tomato plant so it starts, or it ends, all the way up there. And I strung it up all along the ceiling and all the way down to its bucket and its container. So in doing that, starting off, I use a Mason's line string and I use these tomato clips. And these tomato clips are great because you just hook up the tomato clip to the string. And in this case, because it's hydroponics, there's no way of actually supporting it properly with a net pot, especially a plant like this big. This plant, if our ceiling is about 8 feet and we have our plant starting about 2 feet up, so this, just the one vine, it has to be over 8 feet because it's coming over at least almost 48 inches, 4 feet. And then, I kind of drop it and kind of let it twist a little so I can gain some more space and room. And it's just growing beautifully. And here's how I support it. So I'm lucky enough to have these racks up top, the way I designed the indoor garden. And I can hook up some string with some tomato clips. And I use the combination of tomato clips. And I'll show you right here. Like, look at the size of this tomato. This is huge. It's ready to be harvested. I use the tomato clips, which I'll leave the link in the description so that you can see, in the Mason string, and it's up there. And there's a lot of weight on here. So these tomato clips with these Mason's line works out great. I call it the Mason's line because this is actually what bricklayers use. So they can string lines from house, corner to corner on each house. And it's a nice thick twine. So that's the line that I use. I'll leave a link in the description. It's nice and thick and it clips on. And I'm going to show you a little bit closer up how it clips on. And we just keep looking through. And it's the tomato clips that are hanging and just looped around the rack itself. Right? And then we use some J-hooks. Here's the J-hooks. So it's a combination of two. And the J-hooks come in really handy because they basically just hook onto your Mason's line and then they extend over about 4 inches and have a nice hook. So this hook is nice and soft and it just hooks on an existing string or line. Just like that. I'll show you up close. Right now, I just wanted to show you the plant. So take a look at this plant. It just keeps growing. Take a look. There's lots of new growth. Beautiful flowers that need to be pollinated. And it just keeps growing. It's unbelievable. So This is the main method, and I use the same thing with the string, the tomato clips, and if you can, you know, have some type of system up top, even if it's just like a bar, and use this type of string and these tomato clips, that's what I do and that's what I use, and the J hooks, and it comes out just great. I just wanted to show you something else. So like this one vine here, right? Look, and it's vines and they keep going down, look. So that one was just hooked up and attached to this one, but let's see. This one vine goes all the way down, and I tried to drop it, right? It's kind of a drop and lean method, but even with the drop and lean method, you have to support it. So you can get creative with these J hooks. Look, one attaches to the other, and it's hooked into the actual tomato clip that's attached to our string and our mason's line, and it's holding this, it's supporting this. As much as I try to drop and lean, and that's what I did here in some sort, and then still had it grow above. So I don't know, I'm so happy with this method, and this is what's working for me. If you can see that, some more baby tomatoes, and it just keeps producing. So the one thing that's really important when you're doing hydroponics and indoors, and what type of lighting, the type of setup that you have with supporting your plants, very important, is the light that you choose and how you choose it, and if you're using racks or a tent or anything like that, right? With using all these racks, I think it's the greatest thing, because we can adjust the heights, we can expand, we can remove, and so on. But one of the most important things, especially with supporting our plants, are the lights. Okay, you want to pick a light that doesn't take up the whole ceiling space. Like, it doesn't take up all that space. You want a nice light that's powerful, especially for tomatoes and peppers, and that is long, so that you can string either, you know, in front of the light, okay, the way this one is and this one is. So very important. Like, if you pick a big light that's like 16 inches square by square, you're gonna have a very difficult, you know, time supporting your plants. So you have to keep in mind, and you really have to think about this. So this is why I chose these type of lights. They work perfectly, and I love growing tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that, but they need to be supported. It doesn't matter if you use, you know, one of those big lids with all the hydrogen, the clay balls, which is the hydrogen, it won't support the plants. It's impossible. No matter what, you can use one of those big lids that you've seen people use and they sell, where it fits a 5-gallon container, and then they fill it up with hydrogen, and they're thinking that that's going to support their tomatoes or their peppers, right? So in doing that, no matter what, you can use a 3-inch neck cup. You don't need hydrogen. It doesn't support anything. At the end of the day, you're going to have to support your tomato plants and your pepper plants and plants that grow like that, period, straight up. And this is the easiest method. I've tried it all with, you know, bigger lids. I've tried even tomato cages. Tomato cages are actually pretty good. But the thing is if you can have the tomato cage fastened to the actual bucket, that's great. But it has to be removable somehow. With these tomato clips and these J hooks, I can remove, I can add, I can do a ton of things, and it all works out. The tomato cages, if you have to lift up the lid, if that tomato cage and that tomato plant isn't solid, it's just going to fall down. So be careful, because once in a while, especially when you're growing tomatoes and peppers, you're going to need to refill your container with nutrients and top it up, or, you know, check the pH and stuff like that. So with these strings, and I'll show you right now, right? I can still lift this up. Now, this is difficult because I have the handheld camera and I'm trying to show you and I'm holding the camera to film. So I can lift this lid up, right? And you see how the plant's taking a bit of a tumble. Now this one's fully loaded, but if I had to look in there and to check on the nutrients or the roots, I could do it. And the plant is always supported from above with, you know, our mason string or any type of line that's thick enough. This one's nice and thick, right, and strong. And that's it. And away you go. It's supported regardless. Now, if that had a tomato cage on it, good luck trying to lift up the lid. You need two people to hold the plant, hold it, which is great if you have that, you know, extra person handy to help you out and so on. So this is, I'm using the strings on all our setup and you can see here I was able to use rectangular lights. So this is about, I don't know, 13 inches by about maybe 18. So it's okay because they're hanging on the ceiling and then I have a lot of room in between to support all of the plants. But these type of lights, the Mars Hydro, and these are the little guys. We have a video that's coming soon on the bigger guys that are just amazing. They're nice and long and, you know, they're narrow. They produce a ton of light, but we're able to raise and lower the lights. We're able to support it anywhere around the light, and that's very important. So in saying that, let me flip the camera around. That's just the beginning. Let me show you our baby tomato plants. So these are determinate, so they only have a certain lifespan. And again, because they get very heavy, we have them in a 3-gallon bucket. We're using clone colors because we don't need clay pebbles. And we have the support. So you see how it's around here? There's a good example where we have the tomato clip and it is supporting. It's hooked onto the mason line and it's just filled with tomatoes. And that's a determinant. And then, so again, we have our string that is tied from the bottom with the tomato clips and the mason's line all the way up. And you can even use those tomato clips to attach 2 strings at a time. And the way I did it up top, if you can see that. So look at the other one and it's all, you know, supported from the racks above. And again, loaded with tomatoes. Take a look at that. And again, with the tomato clips and this mason's line string. So that's showing all the tomatoes. Now this, when I lift up the lid, you'll see that it's going to move a little bit because it's very heavy. If it wasn't supported like that with our clips and our string, then, you know, this plant would fall over easily with all the weight and all the fruit that it has on it. And after this, I'm going to put maybe another string. I can attach it with another tomato clip, but we'll show you that in close up. So here's the actual tomato clips, and you can see they have like little teeth in there, right? And when we close this up, we put the string inside, grabs onto the string, just like that. And then we clip them. To remove them, we just press this tab, and that's it, it's removed. And then the J-hooks, once you have your lines on, let's say for an example, you wanna, you know, this was loaded up with fruit. You just grab the J-hook, clip it onto the string, and that's it. So these are the J-hooks. You know, they come in really handy, right? Sometimes I put it right on the tomatoes, especially on the bigger tomato plants like the beefsteak. And this is the string that we're talking about. So this is a nice thick twine. It's braided. When I cut any pieces off of it, I just grab a lighter and I just singe the end so it doesn't keep fraying. And this lasts a long time. And you can reuse these lines. I reuse all of them. So it's a great way to not waste anything. This can stay hanging or we can just tuck it up top. Make it look pretty. So let's take a look at our little bush type tomato plants. And this one's supported. I'm just gonna add a few more supports here. Take a look. So everything's attached to the top, which is great. And we're gonna start supporting this one. I did a nice trim on it just now, and it's time to start installing some tomato clips and our string. And if we need a couple J-hooks, we got them. I'm gonna get started on this one right here before it falls. So I'm just gonna grab my line and attach it up to the wire shelf. Grab my clip, so you see, just like so. And that's nice and secure there. This is exactly where I want it. Grab another tomato clip and grab this branch before it falls. I want it at that height, so I'm just gonna put it at that height. Grab the tomato clip, put the string inside. And that one's done. The leftover string can just hang down. Now I don't have to worry about that branch breaking off. We're gonna support this one too. I'll grab another line, just put it up, and see, this is why these lights are great. So if this was square, like I was saying, right, we wouldn't be able to hang, you know, and support any of these lines. This way I can support from in front of the plant and in behind the plant. Grab another tomato clip. And that's it. And these tomato clips, doing this like this up here, I don't have to tie it, you know, tie a knot in it or anything like that. I just use the tomato clips just like that, and it holds. It's pretty good. So I've already picked a bunch of tomatoes off of these two plants. And I think these are probably the last ones. This one's supported over here, which is good. I think I'm gonna put one more support here. So as the plant fruits a little bit more, which there's already a couple tomatoes like there and there. And that's it. I cut these long so I can use them in all of my tomato bays. And I just arrange it the way I want. So that one's supported. That's it. These strings I'm gonna leave long. Now that it's supported, oh, we have one more over here. Whoops. Let's see. So I have a string here that was really long. I looped it over. I almost forgot you. I'm sorry. And I'm gonna put this one right where the fruit is. So once they start to fruit, they get really heavy, and you have to maintain your tomatoes. And that's that. This one is supported. So we already harvested a couple of tomatoes, which was nice. And we're just gonna wait for the rest of these to mature. And here we go. So I can lift this lid up very carefully so I can check the nutrients inside and the level, right? Try that with a tomato cage. This one's already supported. It's pretty good. Nice sized tomatoes for a bush type tomato plant. These are pretty big for this type. And we can lift this up. I'm just going to turn the plant a little bit. And we can lift this up. And we can look inside and check the nutrients and the roots. Wonderful. That's it. That is done. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this video helped you and showed you how we can support our tomatoes indoors. And I'll be honest with you, the same system applies with our indoor peppers. So bell peppers and banana peppers, any type of plant that fruits like this that grows a heavy load. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribing's free, so just hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like, and I hope everybody's having a great day. Happy growing, everybody. See you next time.